Welcome to my channel. My name is Alexis Bravo and I'm a philosopher in training. I'm in the business of sharing my thoughts with the world to promote our collective evolution. In this video, we will break down the Israeli-Palestine conflict. We will cover its origins, central issues, and possible solutions. This is a major subject in international politics, and you should be somewhat informed about what it entails. I'll do my best to be as brief as possible. Let's get started. The Israeli-Palestine conflict claimed the lives of 5,087 people, with women making up 62% of all fatalities and injured 15,273 people during the latest attacks on October 7, 2023. The current situation in Gaza, where the conflict has been occurring, includes the displacement of 1.4 million people, a lack of access to basic services for 50,000 pregnant women, a lack of water. Each person lives off of 3 liters of water per day. A full electricity blackout, 62 attacks on healthcare, and 20,000 people in need of mental health services. These statistics, of course, reflect the most recent stir-up in the area. The conflict goes back to 1948, though, and has accounted for many more casualties, injuries, displacement, and collateral damage. The Center for Preventative Action explains the conflict. In 1947, the United Nations adopted the Partition Plan, which sought to divide the British Mandate of Palestine into Arab and Jewish states. On May 14, 1948, the State of Israel was created, sparking the first Arab-Israeli War. The war ended in 1949 with Israel's victory, and the territory was divided into 3 parts: the State of Israel, the West Bank of the Jordan River, and the Gaza Strip. Tensions heightened in 1956 during the Suez Crisis, when Israel, Great Britain, and France launched a joint attack against Egypt aiming at instituting a regime change and deposing Gamal Abdel Nasser, the country's charismatic leader. Then Israel invaded the Sinai Peninsula, which caused Egypt, Jordan, and Syria to sign defense pacts in anticipation of possible mobilization of Israeli troops. Nasser made the same maneuvers that caused Israel to launch a preemptive attack on Egyptian and Syrian air forces, starting the Six-Day War. There was another war, the October War, 6 years later, where Egypt and Syria launched a 2-front attack on Israel to reclaim their lost territory. A peace treaty between Israel and Egypt was signed afterward. The question of Palestinian self-determination and self-governance remained unresolved despite improved relations between Israel and its neighbors. In 1987, hundreds of thousands of Palestinians living in the West Bank and Gaza Strip rose up against the Israeli government in what is known as the First Intifada. The 1993 Oslo I Accords mediated the conflict, setting up a framework for the Palestinians to govern themselves in the West Bank and Gaza, and enabled mutual recognition between the newly established Palestinian Authority and Israel's government. The 1995 Oslo II Accords expanded on the first agreement, adding provisions that mandated the complete withdrawal of Israel from 6 cities and 450 towns in the West Bank. In 2000, sparked in part by Palestinian grievances over Israel's control over the West Bank, a stagnating peace process, and former Israeli Prime Minister Ariel Sharon's visit to the Al-Aqsa Mosque, the third holiest site in Islam, in September 2000, Palestinians launched the Second Intifada, which would last until 2005. In response, the Israeli government approved the construction of a barrier wall around the West Bank in 2002, despite opposition from the International Court of Justice and the International Criminal Court. Then, Hamas, a political and militant movement inspired by the Muslim Brotherhood, gained control of the Gaza Strip after winning the 2006 elections. The United States and the European Union didn't recognize the election results because the group has been considered a terrorist organization by Western governments since the 1990s. Military confrontation between Hamas and Israel occurred in the summer of 2014, with a ceasefire brokered by Egypt. After a wave of violence between Israelis and Palestinians in 2015, Palestinian President Mahmoud Abbas of Fatah, the recognized political party running Palestine, announced that Palestinians would no longer be bound by the territorial divisions created by the Oslo Accords. In March and May of 2018, Palestinians in the Gaza Strip conducted weekly demonstrations at the border between the Gaza Strip and Israel. On May 10, 2021, Hamas launched hundreds of rockets into Israeli territory. Israel attacked back, and a ceasefire occurred later that month. The October 23 conflict between Israel and Hamas marks the most significant escalation of the ongoing Israeli-Palestinian conflict in several decades. The central issues in this conflict revolve around the possession and ownership of land, and creating a fully autonomous Muslim state, which is strange because it's not like there aren't other Muslim states around. A European power promised the Zionist movement a country where Palestinian Arab natives made up 90% of the population. If we're being fully transparent, that was wrong. During the British Mandate, mass Jewish immigration occurred as a response to Nazism, which led to a culture clash in the territory. The struggle led to the creation of Hamas and years of conflict. Obviously, Hamas came later. But there's also the matter of statehood. The Zionist movement received statehood in Israel, but the Muslims have yet to secure a fully autonomous state in the area, which is significant because it's the Holy Land. The idea of states and nations is antiquated and only seems to bring more problems than solutions. States implant the idea of nationalism into the minds of their people, purporting that their country is both different and better than other countries for whatever reasons. Statehoods create global disunity and create cultural conditions that cannot be easily transplanted elsewhere in the globe. This brings us to our possible solution. We should seek the establishment of a global regime fueled by a global culture that is decidedly bent on generating collective wealth and being of service to those in need. A culture that brings up the quality of life for all people around the planet until all people have access to the same resources that people in the most privileged conditions possess. A one world order of sorts without the terrible connotations of rulership by the elite. People that belong to this culture are the only ones that will make a difference in the world, no matter where they go, for the better. They're the kind of people that are willing to offer relief to those in Gaza right now. And we need more people like that. We're a world that's run by the activities of its people. We need to come together for good. As Leo Tolstoy once said, if everyone fought for their own convictions, there would be no war. Just imagine the kind of world we would have if our convictions were pure. War is not the answer to our problems, because in war everyone loses. Every life matters. We must somehow find a way to build a better world as one people and work together to create a space in which we can all coexist at our very best. If you enjoyed this video, please like, share, or subscribe. Thanks for watching.